Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you are here doing my midweek check-in with you all politically. Some things always going on. So first, I want to give big props, as I'm sure many of you have as well, around Nicole Collier and the efforts that she made, the Texas state representative, being locked in that chamber in on the Senate on the floor. Wow, like just unbelievable. Also, what really was striking about that is the fact that she was the only one who stood up. We understand that there were 50 Democrats who left the state so that they couldn't hold that vote during the first special session. I'm taping this really early Wednesday morning. It's going to go through. Spirit said that a couple of weeks ago that this was going to happen because Abbott said he'll call as many special sessions as he needs to in order to get the district maps over the finish line. It's going to happen, but we also know Spirit has said there's going to be a lot of backlash behind that, and it's not going to be as successful as they're planning. Jasmine Crockett has come out recently. I think it was just yesterday. I caught an interview with her saying this is not going to. It may not even result in the 5 seats that DT. I'm calling that, or DJT, directed Abbott to try and get for them, that it may not happen. She's talked about that. There's a lot of questions around whether this will even be successful, whether people within those districts may even cross party lines. There's so much going on around this, you all. Don't give up hope. Is frustrating and as frightening as it can be. This is going to backfire spectacularly, is the word Spirit just gave me. All right. By the way, if you're just landing on the channel, I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm also a former newspaper journalist, so I tend to try and stay pretty grounded and get as much information as I can, stick to the facts as we learn them or as we can determine that they are true in this age of disinformation, right? And I'm also an initiated priestess in both Wiccan and African traditions. So that just gives you a little bit of my background. I want to sincerely thank so many of you who are here with me on the channel. Your commentary, your respect, the community that we're building here. I'm delighted to play a part in that. I feel like, I'm on this side of the camera, but you are on that side of the camera. And that is equally important. Like, without one another, what are we doing? What's the point, right? So just wanted to say thank you. I really do appreciate your time, your support. Please hit that like and subscribe button and notification bell. I tend to post on Sundays, beginning of the week, Wednesdays, today, midweek, and then I'll do a right before the weekend on Friday. So love to have you here and appreciate your presence and your support so very much. All right, you all. So, and going back to Collier for a second, did you all see the phone call that she got from our Lotus, from Kamala Harris? That was so, you could see how that moved her and inspired her to stick it out until today when they're going to hold that vote. But man, was that a powerful moment and a powerful exchange. And the fact that Kamala Harris, felt the call to give her support and lend her support to Collier in that moment. I thought it was simply incredible. And again, we need all those energetically, we need all of those moments of inspiration and to know that we are collectively in this together. All right, that said, so now we have DJT trying to strike a bargain with heaven, no less. I'm going to cleanse the deck on that. Some of you are asking what I do when I spray. It's a mixture that I've made of essential oils, and I use that to spray and cleanse my deck. It's an easy way to do it rather than having to light incense or smudging. So for my readers out there, you may want to try that. All right. So he's apparently this health issue or these health issues around DJT are like seriously real. And it goes beyond those cankles, right? But the fact that he came out and said point blank, I realize I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. So an admission of like maybe I'm not, highly favored in the heavenly realms. So he's saying, he thinks if he can get something across the finish line, a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, that might up his ante. Excuse me. He's trying to bargain with heaven. I had to choke. I had, like my throat chakra had to clench up on that for a minute. Like, whoa. But here's the thing. I'm getting the sense that on a real level, he's afraid. He's very, very afraid. And we're not being told everything that is happening with his health. So I want to take a look at him and see if, in fact, he feels it coming. Like he feels some things coming. We got the sun at the bottom of the deck after I shuffled you all. I'm using, by the way, again for my readers, the Curious Tarot, the Curious Creatures by Chris Ann. All right? The sun, life. The sun also sometimes can be very childlike, can represent life-giving forces, right? He sees it slipping. Let me go further. Spirit, what is his mindset really around his life and around how long he has? We have the Eight of Cups. He feels it slipping away, you all. He feels it slipping away. And I have to say, I'll say it one and only time, for entertainment purposes only, right? Everything, got to do that. These videos are for entertainment purposes only. But he feels it slipping away. Eight of Cups. And it's almost like there's a certain resignation that he's feeling. Like, it is what it is. He knows that his body is caving. Also, very interestingly around that, and the Knight of Wands, that's his body, and what is happening within his body that is betraying him, essentially. Wands, fire, life force. We got started out with that sun, life force, energy, slipping away. All right? So, yeah, we can make jokes about the statement that he's thinking about that, but he is thinking about that, and that fear is setting in. The other thing that pinged me was in regards to Russia and Ukraine, right? He's saying if I can pull this off, maybe it'll improve my chances of getting to heaven. But he's also said, apparently he now is starting to waffle again and say he may step back and just leave it to Zelensky and Putin to get together. That's not happening, you all. Not anytime soon, if ever. We're seeing, escalation by Russia, even within the last couple of days. So I'm not going to do a reading on that. We'll get into that a little bit more because that's going to go on a lot longer. But the bottom line is, in terms of his role in it, he is now saying, I may step back. It may not need to be a trilateral meeting. Maybe a bilateral meeting will do. Also, we're understanding that he's starting to put it on JDV's Vance's plate and say, you take the head of this situation right now. We're going to need you to get out there a little bit more. Why? Since when? Since when has he ever taken a backseat to anybody? DJT. Since when has he ever taken a backseat to anybody or allowed somebody else to take center stage, unless he knows that it's because it's not going to happen? There's failure there. And he smells it. And that's another reason why we're getting that Eight of Cups energy around him and his health. Everything that could prop him up, that could, juice him up and make him feel like he's got more to give and more to do. There's the Hangman. He's just waiting. He's just ready to step out of it. He doesn't have the mental fortitude. His body's betraying him. He doesn't have the physical fortitude. It's just not happening, you all. So, yes. The idea, one thing about him, he says what he means, and then sometimes it's just so far off the charts that people tend to, we tend to look at it and say, can't be real. He says what he means. He's thinking about heaven. He's thinking about his lifespan, and he sees himself not doing well. And that's only the what we've heard is just the tip of it. And distortion of it, right? All right. So watch out for Vance, Spirit's been talking about him doing what I got as a soft coup, not actually like forcefully trying to get rid of DT or DJT, but doing what he's doing, making the moves behind the scenes. All right. So that's happening. Secondly, I want to take a look, you all, at mail-in voting. So now we've heard that's the plan. That's also a part of the plan, is to attack mail-in voting. Why? Because Putin said it doesn't work. Oh man, it's just like we see it and we hear it and we know it, but it's still hard to believe. All right, but I want to see mail-in voting that is protected by the states, right? So the idea that he could actually outlaw it or do an executive order or whatever, that part is not going to happen. What I'm getting from Spirit though is there's the magician at the bottom of the deck after I shuffled. Is this will have to be something that the states begin to prepare for now. They know that there's going to be a lot of questions raised around the legitimacy of the 26 midterms for those states that have the mail-in ballots. Page of Wands. I'm sorry, you all. I didn't use it to cleanse the decks, but I always have incense going in the back, and I got a scented candle. Page of Wands with the magician. States protecting their mail-in ballots. And the Four of Cups. Interestingly, excuse me again. Sorry about that. Let me take a sip of coffee. Interestingly, you all, this is like one more thing being added to the plate of many state secretaries of state, legislators, election boards, etc. So that Four of Cups is basically saying we see it coming, but the energy that it's going to take, the money that it will take to make sure that they are prepared to protect and justify their election results. It's going to be enormous. It's an enormous burden, and they're just sitting there waiting for it. Like, we know that it's coming. Spirit, will the states, will mail in, bottom line, will mail in balloting proceed and be protected within the states for the 26 midterms in particular? We have the Ten of Cups. Yeah. We're going to be okay with that. It's going to happen. There's no way. Because it would disenfranchise so many voters, those who are disabled, the elderly, etc. Those who live overseas. Yeah, it's going to go forward. But they also recognize that Knight of Wands has come back. It's going to move forward. It will happen. We will have mail-in balloting, and they will be counted. There is going to, I think it's going to be contested. We have the Queen of Pentacles. That feels like, I get this very often around Bondi. So I'm getting that he's going to put her in charge of going, to the secretaries of state, attorneys generals of different states to try and challenge the results of states, particularly when the mail-in ballots are tallied, right? But they will hold, Spirit. Will those votes hold? Will they be counted, and will they hold? And we have the Five of Swords, a lot of conflict again around them. But will they hold? Conflict or no, will they hold? We have the Ten of Swords. Is this contested races in certain, tight races in certain states? Yeah, Six of Pentacles, give and take. So we will see probably, depending on the number of mail-in ballots and the certain races within certain states, if it's a tight race, we're going to see Bondi jump up and try and challenge. That's going to be her directive. But there will be, I'll go back to that Ten of Cups. They will hold. Spirit, I want to close this out. Three of Pentacles. It's going to work. They will work together. Election officials, national election integrity is what I just heard. National election groups who are going to be overseeing. There will be a lot of oversight around these elections because they see it coming. Again, this reading started with the magician, so they see it coming. They know that that's the plan. And again, going back, the thing with them is they don't try to hide their hand. Many of us got so just, we knew about Project 2025. It was out there, but the sheer audacity of it and the sheer idea of that Congress would capitulate to the extent that they have to allow all of this to unfold. It was just beyond belief. And yet here we are. We will have mail-in ballots. They will hold. There is going to be additional oversight. There will be challenges I'm getting from Bondi, there will be challenges in certain races if those races are deemed close. But at the end of the day, those votes will be counted. All right. So we may have some delays, is what I'm hearing. So in the midterms, we may have some results that are delayed because of this pushback. But ultimately, I think the system is going to hold, you all. All right. Next thing I want to look at briefly. Going back to JD Vance, right? So not only is he's being sent out now. He's gone to Indiana. We know Ohio, these red states that are sending in additional National Guard to D.C. They're all doing their little collaboration to try and boost all of this for no good reason. But Vance is also teaming up apparently now with Elon Musk. We see that Elon, who a month or so ago, in reference to the Epstein files, right, came out and said, oh, watch what I do. I'm going to start this new party. Ain't happening. Now he's backing off of that. But additionally, we're understanding that he and JD Vance are now teaming up, right? Must burn that bridge pretty much with DJT, right? Trump. Try not to say that name, but he burned that bridge. But Vance has talking about this soft coup. Vance says now we understand they've been in cahoots in recent weeks, and I heard and read, don't know how true it is, that Musk is also saying he's going to make sure that the Dems don't take the Congress back or at least the House back in 2026. Said he's going to make sure that doesn't happen. It is also said that these meetings between Vance and him are because Vance, of course, is positioning himself for 2028, and he wants Musk's help. I want to take a look at that and see if, in fact, that is a part of what's happening between the two of them. And you know what? I'm being led to the Kipper deck for that. All right, Spirit, I hear you. They told me to pull it out just in case. So I'm going to pull on that reading. I'm going to look at the Kipper deck. Spirit, is there a plan being hatched between JD Vance and Elon Musk to sway the 2026 midterms and for Vance's future in 2028? Has Musk agreed to help JD Vance? Elon Musk, has he agreed to back and help JD Vance? Work labor efforts comes at the bottom of the deck. Yes, right. They've definitely had some talks like how can we work together to make this happen? We have the divine feminine comes up. With the Ice Queen. That's Susie Wiles. Spirit, is Susie Wiles in on this? DJT's main girl? Is Susie Wiles in on this? Or will she switch camps? Family. Wow. So even though we have understood that in large part, Susie Wiles was no big fan of JD Vance, but she's also grown accustomed to power, or heightened power is what I'm hearing. And if that means that she's got to then slowly begin to hitch her wagon to JD Vance, she will do so. And we also know she's no big fan of Elon Musk, but she's a big fan of having power. And now that she's grown accustomed to having additional power and being in all the rooms, she's not going to want that to go away. And here we have ritual. In the context of this reading, ritual is what is being done to boost the power of what they want. And they want to stay in office. So yes, there is a plan that's happening between the two of them. There's a lot of promises being made about how, from Musk's end, you know what I'm capable of. You know that despite the hits that he's taken financially, I still got a whole lot more in the bank that I can use to put behind you. We have ancestors. That's an interesting thing. You know what? This is J.D. Vance boosting this new narrative that we're seeing, not new, but this increased narrative around who really the United States of America reflects, who it should reflect, how it should be portrayed, right? And we're going to close out we're going to look at the Smithsonian, but that's a part of what this is about. Is we need to close ranks, even like a Susie Wiles crossing camps over into making nice with Vance. We need to close ranks because is at stake, and we know that pings Elon Musk all day long. Right? The whole, white power, I'm going to call it that white supremacy. We know that that's part of what just gets him all jazzed up. So yeah, that's what's happening, you all. That's the next. I just pulled the priestess card. So that's what's being done in secret, behind the scenes. Their Project 2026, Project 2028. And there's a gift. That's what he's promising them. The money. He's saying, I will back you. I'm going to back off of everything else that I talked about, and I'm going to back you. And that's also why Musk has not been as vocal, is what Spirit is saying, vocal around his opposition to DJT in regards to the Epstein files, while he's slowed his role in terms of, coming off and being threatening toward that, because he recognizes if he burns that bridge, he burns his influence with the MAGA base, with the conservative base, and he needs that in order to offer not just his money, but influence or potential influence to try and help J.D. Vance in the future. Wow. Unbelievable. All right, you all. And I want to close out today's reading with a quick look at the Smithsonian and this erasure, or, basically whitewashing history and the erasure of the truth, right? Now, here's what I'm getting. What that's going to do, we know that the Smithsonian museums, all of them, rely heavily on federal funding. But with all of this, military presence in D.C., which is not going to let up anytime soon, is what I've gotten in my readings anyway. He's going to prolong that as long as possible. But with that is a downturn in tourism. And those Smithsonian museums rely on tourism. That's a major, major draw to Washington, D.C., is to visit the Smithsonian museums, right? So the economy there, is what I'm getting, is going to really take a hit by all of this effort to tamp down and reconfigure what's allowed at these museums. The word that I just got from Spirit is a revival. And that feels spiritual to me. Like for those of us, if you had a Christian background, remember, revival camps or revival services. There will be a revival. But it's going to happen it's going to happen down the road, because these museums are going to suffer with tourism. It's not just the content that they have, but it's the fact that the city itself, the hotels, the restaurants, the museums themselves are going to suffer. And there's the veil. And underneath that is blocked, and underneath that is poverty. Thank you, Spirit. Look at that. These are the 3 cards that were at the bottom of the deck after I shuffled. So what we will see, this is their effort to cover the truth or reframe the truth, right? But here we have, it's going to get blocked because of poverty. Because poverty meaning there will be so many resources that are drained from DC, especially through tourism, which is a huge draw for those museums to exist in the first place, that it is going to, it will be revived. That people will understand that history needs to be protected, and it will be revived. When? Maybe after, you know, after we're not dealing with this any longer. Eight of Pentacles, hanging in there. Those museums are going to hang in there. They will serve their function, and the truth will continue to stand and be told, but it's going to take effort. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of mastery. It's a card of skill. It's a card of negotiation sometimes. It is the actual materials that are, some of them are on loan. In particular, the African American Museum, I know, had many materials that are on loan. So there's going to be the negotiations around, please don't pull it. Please, allow us to keep those materials, because they are necessary. They will be seen, and doggone if we didn't just get justice. All right. So yes, the efforts to do this are, again, a whole part of the, I'm going to take over DC, take over the Kennedy Center, take over the neighborhoods, take over everything. But in doing that, the economy there, the whole, reason that DC is held dear as the capital of the nation is going to take such a hit that, like so many other things, it's going to backfire. And I'm definitely coming back to that word revival. It's going to take a hit, but the city itself, and in particular the Smithsonian museums, they will be revived to the extent that there is damage done to them, to the extent that we will see turnover in leadership, and directors of those museums, etc., who may just say, I can't do this anymore, similar to what we've seen in the DOJ, with, lots of other aspects of what's happening in DC. There will be a major revival of it, and it will stand the test of time, is what Spirit just said. These institutions will stand the test of time. Going back to that justice card that we pulled. All right, you all? I hope that was helpful. Again, I thank you so much. I thank you for being respectful, for being aware, for being here, just doing what we got to do. And as I always close out my readings, chin up and our shoulders back. Right? Know who we are and have faith in what is really, who and what is really in charge, in source energy, and that this is a moment, awful moment in time, but it will pass, and it is in the act of passing. Every day that passes, we get closer to that next thing. Voting is going to be crucial, and voting will hold. It is going to be a fight, but they see the fight coming. The one thing also, closing out, that Jasmine Crockett said, which was really interesting, she talked about the fact that all of this has happened in Texas and is going to happen, a ripple effect in other states, this voter suppression through the maps and redistricting, if I can get my words out. She said it is causing money to come into the states. The Democratic National Party has certainly been guilty of peeling back funds and momentum and establishing offices, more offices, and more boots on the ground in many states that have been seen as just basically lost causes, like Texas, like Florida, and other states. And so Jasmine Crockett made the point that she is seeing already the plans to really pour in more funding and to mount a different type of fight on behalf by the Democratic Party, even when it appears that, it's almost too much. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You're going to see things cropping up in new ways. And that is going to take money, and that is going to take fundraising. So some deep pockets are going to have to open, and I think that they will. But we'll be looking more at that, certainly in the weeks and months to come. All right, you all take really good care. Check back with me on Friday. I'll get back on here And we'll talk about the Epstein files. Remember, those are supposed to get turned over. The House Oversight Committee, Comer and Garcia on the Democratic end. They've subpoenaed, and they're supposed to be working furiously to redact the names of victims. Blah blah blah. Let's see what actually winds up getting turned over, right? Or if the DOJ, Bondi et al. Continue to stall. We'll take a look at that on Friday. All right, I'll talk to you real soon. Be good out there. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.